Today I wanted to do a brief little video on long-term water bottle storage. Now I'm not talking about anything like the 55-gallon water drums or the 5-gallon water jugs that are very common in your home or even office setting. I'm talking about smaller size containers such as the small little water bottle that you could get in any kind of grocery store. These things are a great option to include in your bug out bag, for example, get home bag, your vehicle, and even a survival cache. But they have a lot of pros with it. They're affordable, they're durable, and they're lightweight. You don't have a lot of weight from the container itself. But I do think it becomes a problem when you're storing these things for a long period of time, so an extended period of time, 5 to 10 years. For example, the 5-gallon water jugs, those last anywhere from 3 to 5 years shelf life, as long as you keep it out of direct sunlight. I find that the 55-gallon water drums, they go a little bit shorter. I think after a year they start tasting kind of funky. And these things also will go fairly quickly, especially if they're in sunlight. So while it has many good options to it, there's the negative of having that plastic leach into the water and affect the water that you're drinking. Now there are other water bottle containers that you could use. For example, the stainless steel water jugs, great for EDC purposes. I have one in my bug out bag as well. You could boil water in here, but you don't want to be storing anything in here long term. Even after a day, it's going to start having a metallic taste to it, and it's generally just the water's just going to start getting nasty over time. The Nalgene water bottle is another option that you could use. Again, great for EDC, great to have in a bug out bag, but not necessarily good to store water in long term. So we're talking multiple years, the plastic's gonna leach into that water, affect the taste, affect what you're drinking, and it's just not gonna be good. The container that I think works best for long-term water storage is a glass container, such as the one that we see here. The glass isn't going to leach into the water over time. They found water that's stored in glass jugs like in the pyramids, and the water's still technically good. So this is a good option. The negatives with it is that it's a little heavier because of the glass, and then also it's more breakable because it is glass. If you drop this from a decent height, it's going to break on you. So what I've been doing for my long-term water bottle storage is switching over a lot of my systems over to glass. For example, like this Voss water bottle. Now I wouldn't use this every day because it would get a little expensive. For example, these water bottles cost around $3 each, so that gets kind of pricey. But I still think it's more affordable than buying something like the water bottle pouches that you could get from Daytrex or any of the emergency water. You don't get as much quantity as you would with just getting one of these glass bottles. And this is what I've been switching over to for things like my bug out bag, in my vehicle, and also in survival caches. Because it's glass, it's not going to leach into the water, and I would feel safe having this stored for 10 years or above, as long as I'm keeping it out of sunlight. I think water stored in glass water bottles stores really well in almost all weather conditions when we're talking about storing it in your vehicle, except for cold weather. If you live in a very cold state or cold country, it might freeze the bottle and crack it, and then you could have some problems. But hot weather and just normal everyday weather, it works really great for that. But you do want to block it from sunlight because you don't want the sunlight just negatively affecting the water. So that's where you want to cover it up with something. I like using just heavy-duty Reynolds wrap and wrapping it over a few times just to block the sunlight from getting through. You could also use a black garbage bag and just use maybe some gaffer's tape to help seal it in there. I think it's a good idea for your bug out bag and get home bags to store at least 2 liters of water in there, preferably more, whatever you could fill your water bladder and whatever kind of water bottle that you carry in there, whether it be a clean canteen or an Nalgene or anything like that. Having real water in there will help save you time in a real emergency from having to immediately start searching for water in an emergency. You want to make sure you have the water ready to go in there. And I feel that these work good for long-term storage. So if you're making a bug out bag and it's going to be in storage for 5 years, for example, you're not going to have to worry about that water. You do have to be a little bit careful just because the glass could break, and then and it's a little heavier, so you're not going to want to carry it long term. So in an emergency situation, how I'm envisioning it is immediately filling up your clean canteen or your water bladder with the water that you have in the glass water container. And this is just mainly for long-term storage purposes before you could transfer it over to your main water bottle. Another cool thing that I like about the Voss water bottles in particular is that it has a flat top to it. It's a cylinder in shape, so it fits really well with survival caches. A lot of the times with the glass water bottles, they're going to be green and it's going to kind of go to a point, and I feel that could get damaged when it's bouncing around in a little bit. This is a complete cylinder, and so I think it works better as far as us storing them, for example, in your PVC survival tube or anything like that. I think they're easier to store when they're in this cylinder shape like this. Now, this lid is plastic, so what you want to do is make sure that you have it vertical if at all possible, so that plastic isn't leaching into the water over time. That's going to do it for this video featuring long-term water bottle storage. Now I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say regarding what kind of water that you like storing in your bug out bags, get home bags, your vehicle, and also in survival caches. Do you like going with the standard plastic water bottle and just rotate it out and hope for the best after a long period of time? Or what do you think about having glass water containers, which you don't have to worry about as rotating as often? As long as you keep it out of sunlight, the water should be good. So leave your comments below in the comments section regarding this topic, and let's get the conversation started regarding long-term water bottle storage. See you guys.